I drank wine, and before I drink the wine, I got some news that is just stupid. I'm gonna shut my phone off. I fucking hate the notification. Oh, this video is not important. Please. Do you know that feeling when you believe in something and turns out once you receive one piece of information, everything started falling into place, and the more it falls into place, you started thinking how wrong you were. Something just falls into place for me, a very harsh truth that I fear I would only acknowledge when I am in the moment and now drunk, because I am more honest to myself when I'm drunk. No filter. I'm afraid that I would wake up in the morning and tell myself lies. So there's this guy. He was that jazz guy that came into town. I met him last year. He reached out first because he listened to, I don't know, he just happens to stumble upon one of my tracks, and he said that he likes it. And you know, it was harmless at first because I said like, great, thank you, thanks. But then, you know, like I was having a gig in his city, and he saw it on my social, so he reached out. And at the time I was awfully fucking bored because I was in this foreign city and I was just doing this program and performance. And basically, wait, he keep on texting me. God, I'm having a headache, guys. Please, I don't know, call me fucking judgmental or whatever the fuck, I don't care. Anyways, this guy, where was I forgot what I was saying. Jakarta, yeah, the city. I came to the city, okay. I was very bored, and he texted me that he said that he wanted to watch my gig. So I was like, cool, yeah, just come, this is the day and the time. Then afterwards, like I think like a day before my performance, he texted me like he cannot come because he was also playing at some other stage, at another gig. So I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. But again, he was just like a stranger on the internet, so I was like, okay, it's okay. But then the next day, because I was still staying in that city, he texted me like, do you have a free time today? I want to meet you in person. So I was like, okay, what the hell, sure. So again, I was in this foreign city that I don't really feel comfortable in. So I decided to meet this guy. And you know, like my first impression, like, whoa, okay, he's cute. And you know, even before meeting him, I gotta do a checkup, right? So I did stalk his Instagram, and turns out he's this, I don't know, he's this very good pianist. And I was like, great, wow. Then I see him in person, cute. And then we talked, and then we hang out and we eat, and then after that he drove me back to my hotel, and that's it. And then I went to bed, and then before I went to bed, he texted me like, actually, can I drive you back to your airport tomorrow morning? And I was like, if you want that fast, okay, that's cool with me. So he picked me up very early in the morning, and then we spent like a lot of time at the airport. because I think, you know, he sort of planned on it, that he wanted to go to drop me off at the airport like hours before my actual flight, because he wanted to talk, which is also okay with me, because I love interacting with people, and I love connecting with people. I don't have any weird thoughts at the moment. I just like talented pianist, cute, you know. That's all in my mind back then. But then after that, I came back to my city, and I feel a little bit bored, you know, going back to my life and everything, continuing everything that I already left. And then he texted me, and we started talking, and I was like, wait, I kind of love having someone to talk to. You know, I remember that time. I was not active on this YouTube account yet, but I was like, oh wait, I'm kind of comfortable. And then we sort of talk, we sort of chat. He's in this other city, and I'm here, so I'm in here. And, you know, like I said it to myself, like, we're not, this is just somebody that you met once, nuh-uh. You know, I tell that to myself. But, you know, like, sometimes he would just call me for hours, you know. Sometimes, at first, actually, when I was just leaving his city to come back to my city, he calls me like 3 times a week. And then there's just one point where I just kind of feel overwhelmed, because there's just too much. Am I a bad person if I say burden? Maybe I am a bad person. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. But there's too much burden. He told me about all of this problem of his, like his life problem and everything. And here's the thing. Here's the deal breaker that I wish that I acknowledged in the first place. He was talking about his ex-wife, because he's so much older than me. He was talking about his ex-wife and how he separated, and, you know, it doesn't work out with him, and all. And the thing is, my gut is telling me to trust the ex-wife. And I have that curiosity, so I stalked the ex-wife. I stalked her. And turns out when I stalked her, she was reposting this NPD syndrome thingy. Like, oh, it's so tiring to be with a guy who's very, you know, have this charm on the outside, but once they come home to the person that actually knows them, it's gonna be different. And at first I was just like ignoring it. Like, I see it with my own eyes, but again, I just know this person, this guy, right? And I'm stalking his past. God, I feel pukey. And I kind of find something red flag-y, but again, I decided to overlook that, which, believe me, was very stupid of me. Long story short, because I suppose it breaks me that a part of me believes in the woman, the wife, the ex-wife, but a part of me wants to believe in something good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be hopeful. I want to believe that actually love could come to me. Like, I still wanted to make it about myself, because I have that big ego. I know. So I stayed and put aside my instincts. Believe me, guys, I am pissed when I tell you this. But okay, we're not gonna get straight to the point. After that, I sort of just limit how I interact because I'm started seeing things, right? Seeing things that I'm not supposed to, and I'm started like having that internal dialogue, which now I'm sort of like used as a checkpoint whenever you're having an internal dialogue with between your instincts and your guts and your heart. Baby, you gotta raise an alarm. You at least you gotta be, you know, cautious. It's okay, you don't have to draw like a immediate speculation, but baby, you gotta be cautious. I know that to myself, and I say that to myself. But again, I was, and still am, still a hopeless person who wants to believe in something good, you know. I really want myself to be wrong. I really want myself to be wrong. God damn it, prove me that I'm wrong. That's what I have inside my mind. Like, prove me that I'm just this terrible person who thinks that I know too much, who thinks that I read you too much, who thinks that I read you too much up to a point where I'm feeding this lie and then just telling myself all this. I want to be wrong. Oh shit, it's still texting me. Wait, guys. Anyway, I need to breathe. I need to get myself back. I want myself back. Okay. Long story short, ever since I know that fact, I sort of just like, you know, toned down the intensity of our conversation. So from three phone calls in a week, it became 1 phone calls in a week, because, you know, I want to continue my life. I sort of sense something, but I don't want to admit it because it hurts my ego. That was my mistake. And then I go on with my life, and then it became less and less, which, you know, I'm very fine with, because again, it's just some guy that I find cute and very talented, very, you know, like, got my eyes on you. But again, I know to myself, like, be cautious, Z. And, you know, like, because I was so far away from him, I managed to have that space to actually think with clarity. So I did put some boundaries. But then he sent me these flowers on Valentine's Day this year. And it was so stupid, because at that time I was close with, oh God, I keep on, what did it say? Okay, anyways, where was I? For the love of God. I don't remember. But the thing is, I don't remember my own story. I don't know what I was talking about, guys. If only I could in real life just, you know, put the rewind button, it would be so much easier. But again, forgive me. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, okay, let me just cut through the thing. He bought me this Valentine flowers, blah blah blah, and I was, shit, he texted me. I'm not gonna let him caught me again, but I was seeing someone at that time, someone who I know that could never be serious, which is also fine with me. But I was like, you know, a little bit obsessed because I was working on my album. That was not the reason, by the way, but I just wanted to say it to sound cool. But because I was working on my album, and I know that I need to look for, you know, I need to fuck around. So I was seeing the other guy. But the thing is, this other guy, he was a pain in the ass, but at least he was honest, you know. Fucking hell. He was on. Okay, I'm not gonna check my phone. He was honest. He doesn't want me. That's okay. That's fucking great. Now I could write an entire song about longing and imagining. That is good. Thank you for telling me that you don't want me. I respect that a lot. But again, my ego is very fucking thick. Very fucking thick. Believe me, guys, saying this on the camera is not easy. Because I'm showing what I've been hiding for so long. But my ego is so fucking thick. And this jazz guy from the other city decides to send me the flowers. So I was like, oh, that's such a nice gesture. Actually, that was a nice gesture. I really love it. But I know in my head that flower meant something more. I am lying to myself if I said that it's not just a flower. And here's the thing. The meaning outside of that doesn't have anything to do with the actual person who sent me the flower. It was about acknowledging myself that I'm enough because of that rejection from that brutally honest guy, which again I really respect. But at the same time, it sort of falls me, it pull me down. But again, I'm not blaming that guy. I'm not blaming that guy who rejects me. I'm actually very grateful. I'm just acknowledging how it happens. So he pulled me down, and I just sort of, settling. So I accept the flower. It's very kind, very nice. And then, once in a while he would call this guy, the jazz gig guy again. We're over that confrontational guy. Really appreciated him, but we're not gonna mention him again. But again, we're back to this guy, the pianist guy. We would talk once in a while. Sometimes he's bored. Sometimes he's on his way home. He lives, like fucking 60 minutes from the city to his actual place. But he works in the city. So sometimes in that meantime, he would call me up. I recognize that pattern, but I refuse to see it because it, tear down my ego. So I refuse to see it until, I thought we were forging like a real connection. And then he told me like, hey, I actually got a gig in your city. I'm gonna come to your city, and I have decided that I'm gonna do an extended stay so that we could hang. And I was like, oh, that's so great. But I was genuinely excited. Like I'm wait, I'm puky. Shit. Give me a second, guys. This is so messy. Where's my... Forget about it. He came to my city and we hang. I introduced him to some people, my friends, the people that I've worked with. I bring him to this very intimate gig in a very beautiful place, the most random place. It was like a very small alleyway. How do you say it in English? Alleyway, like that very small road that so just, lead to like other people's house, but in this very small street, like even a car couldn't fit, only motorbikes. So yeah, there was a gig happening in that place, and I mean, I actually don't want to count what I did for him because I genuinely was happy to bring him along. Like, let's watch this gig, let's eat in this place, let's go to this. But I was very happy, by the way, very happy in doing that. It's just that after that, with all of this information that I already know about him, which I will not say to the camera because I feel like it's just too much information. Before that gig, I confront him. Oh, I think I already mentioned this on some other video. He asked me like, why don't you like my city? And I said, everyone in your city is too pretentious. I know it's the central of the industry. I know it's the central of everything, but for me it's just too, it's too much for me. Sadly I cannot keep up with your city. I cannot pretend and put a persona for so long, let alone to move there and start my music there. I know I could not do that. Not I don't want to do that. So I said it to him, and then he was like, oh yeah, I understand you, but wait, what did he say? I did mention it on the other video. I just have a hard time remembering, guys, because my mind right now is thinking about reading all the text that he sent me when I was recording this video. 6 messages. Shit. So this guy said that when he was in the airport, after dropping him off in the airport, he said that he's listening, streaming my songs, and now he have a question, like, why do you use this, blah, blah, blah. It's so unique, it's very catchy. Now I'm wondering if there's any artistic reason behind why you're using that specific sound. I really want to answer it, but guys, I'm still not done with the story. Please, I'm gonna try to collect myself first. Long story short, when I brought him to that very intimate alleyway gig, I confront him right about the city, and then blah blah blah, and I told him, like, you're very superficial, you're all this stuff, and he admits it, like, you're right, and I call him, like, aren't you tired of pretending, my savior complex again. And then he said, I am very tired, I'm very tired, blah, blah, blah. And after that, I told him, like, now that we've already worked on the song that we wanted to collaborate, what about we have a power nap? That's what I told him. So we decided to have a power nap before we go to this gig on the alleyway. So we have that nap. We tried to sleep. I tried to sleep, but I can't. I can't sleep. I was just pretending to fall asleep because I wanted to sleep so bad. I wanted to believe that I was sleeping. And then when I was, like, so caught up, sorry, I'm still feel pukey. When I'm so caught up in that, need to pretend, he asked me, can I hug you? I said, yeah, sure. And then he started hugging me from behind, because I was facing this way and he was, like, on my back. So he was hugging my back. And he started crying, and I could feel his tears on my clothes. But I could also feel how hard he's trying to not cry. And I already speculated at that moment that I might be the first person that he ever touched ever since his ex-wife. That's why he cried. But I felt his sadness so much. I wanted to cry as well in that moment, but I told myself, like, don't cry. Don't cry. And after that, we ended up sleeping. It was just very sad. It was a very sad situation. We ended up sleeping together, and he told me, like, can you face me? Like, because, I was facing this way, and he was, like, on my back, and he asked me, like, can you just face me and hug me? And I was like, Okay, but you know, like I just automatically drag my face a little bit down to his chest so that I'm not on the same level with his face, because I know what could happen. I don't want to kiss someone who's in the middle of a pain. I don't want to become, you know, just another transit place. Because I know I'm worse than that. That's why I hide my face on his chest and just pretend to fall asleep. And after that, we wake up, and I told him, like, I think we should go. You know, I think the gig is gonna start anytime soon. Do you want to go? Like, if you don't feel like going, I could just go on my own. And he said, like, nah, it's okay. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna come with you. I'm in your city. You know, like I wake up. He turns on the light, and I could see his puffy eyes. He was actually crying. But still, we went on that gig to watch my friend. It was great. It was a great gig. But at the same time, I just constantly feel his pain. Constantly, I don't know why. I just put myself into imagining how it would feel like if I'm a man who have a wife whom I love very much, but my big ego and my toxicity, I couldn't just comprehend all of that. So I ended up destroying a good thing, and now I'm just, regretting everything. Because he did say it to me 12 hours before we cuddled. I think he told me that if his ex-wife want to come back to him, he would accept her. I'm happy for him. It's just that I'm wondering why I'm here. Like, why am I ended up in this situation again? Why am I always the other woman? Why am I always... I don't get it, guys. I used to believe in superstitious beliefs. And back then I believed that I was cursed. I always ends up being the other woman. And every day I wake up trying to perfect myself, to tell myself that you're not the other woman, you're this cool, funky person who makes this quirky music. That's how I live my life. It's so sad, but I wouldn't do it in any other way. I don't regret a thing. I don't regret anything that I do. This is me pouring my heart out, but believe me, I don't regret it. I just think that I just want to acknowledge my feelings. But again, the story did not end there, guys. It's a long story, and it's surprising that some of you are still watching. But after that, after the gig in the alleyway, we come back to the hotel, and I told him, like, how's the flow gonna go? Because he was using my speaker. I asked him, like, I could just take my speaker with me and then go home. But then he told me, like, this is my last day in this city, and I kind of want you to stay with me. And I said, okay, sure. So I stayed. But he told me, like, but you can go to sleep first, because I'm still like trying to make myself sleepy. I'm just gonna work on some songs. So he went to the keyboard again, turned on the sound speaker again, and he was literally working. It was just like brainstorming his idea, and I was just like lying on the bed because I was really tired. But then I think like around like 2 hours later, I could like sense that he's on the bed already, because I could feel like the movement on the bed, and it woke me up. And I remember how much I wanted to be hugged at that moment, knowing that there's another soul right next to me. I just want to be hugged, no matter who it was. And I could sense that he was pretending to fall asleep. So, as I predicted, 30 minutes from there, he asked me, wait, no, he didn't ask me. He just grabbed my face and kissed me. And believe me, it does not feel like desire. I do feel the desire, guys, but believe me, it felt more sadder than that. Because at the same time, I know that I'm the first person he ever touched after his ex-wife, after 2 years. And he was not seeing me, he was seeing his ex-wife. And you know, again, my savior complex, I let myself. I give consent. I do consent. And the next morning we wake up and I drive him to the airport. And we have this conversation at this place. He just went off and I said my goodbyes, and 200 meters from him, as he walked into the boarding room, I started puking. Like, I started feeling pukey, not puking, but started feeling pukey. And that was my body reaction of how much I suppressed my real emotion, navigating through all of that roller coaster. I started puking. I felt so anxious. I finally feel everything that I was hiding when he was away. Like, my survival instinct is not activated anymore. And it's like, it finally clicked, like, okay, you're safe. Feel all of this emotion. And I felt it all at once. And it made me feel anxious, and I feel pukey. And, like, when I was just walking to the parking lot, I was like, ugh. And then when I was on the car, I was like, ugh. And I spent like a fucking hour being pukey. Because I don't know what I want, and I don't know how to read my own signals. I suppose that was the most safest time for my nervous system to actually process itself. That's why I started feeling that emotional turbulence. That was me feeling safe. That's why I started feeling pukey. And after that, I went home. He texted me like, hey, I've arrived. But, like, the next day, yeah, he did some chit chat, and I sort of buy into it. Like, I really wanted to be wrong. Believe me, guys, believe me. I want to be wrong. I want to know that I was just overthinking a person, or I was just reading too much into a stranger, or I was just wrong, that my gut instinct is wrong. I want that to be right. That's why I overlooked everything. But then he texted me, and I thought it was just like the sweet thing that someone that you just slept with would say. Turns out there's a motive behind it. It was a job offering on a ship, a literal ship. So he told me that he applied for this live music at the ship, and it was supposed to be for a duo, but this girl who he initially asked with sort of just canceled him in the middle. And when he said that, I already know where this conversation was going. And he told me that how disappointed he was with that girl because she said no, and she just suddenly changed her mind in the middle of the project. But then again, he told me how, you know, he just got the announcement that he was accepted to work on the ship when he was in my city, by the way, in my city, when he was spending time with me. And believe me, I don't have any possessiveness towards that. It's just that because he put this reasoning that, hey, I'm just calling because I just wanted to pour my guts out. So I was listening, right? Because he wants to pour his guts out. But I was thinking, like, if you really wanted to pour your guts out, you could have told me when you first got that announcement. But you waited. You hold that off, and you... Or maybe I am just overthinking, guys. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. But he God, this is why I'm better off alone. I'm suck at love. Anyways, to go back with the story, long story short, he wanted me to replace that girl. And he explained, like, well, because we're on the ship for 6 months, I suspect that me and the lead singer should have like a romantic connection. You know, like, now I'm overthinking everything. You know, like, I'm thinking if anything that he ever did or say when he was here in my city was real. Not that it matters, but just, you know, like, I'm questioning everything. Because I started, like, seeing him in this new light. Like, okay, you're cute, you're talented, yeah, you're struggling, but you're kind of you know, I was in that phase. And then he started to ask me to replace that girl's place. Believe me, I'm not jealous. I'm offended that he have the guts to ask me to leave my life behind for 6 months. And he said it to my face. It's $100 per day. I know it's a lot of money. I know. But at the same time, I know that is that what I want? Is that what I fucking want? Money? Is that what I want out of life? And he started pitching me like, well, we're gonna be on the ship, and, you know, like, you're gonna sing 3 hours per day, and we're gonna have 1 day of vacation. Maybe we could stop by in this city whenever the ship, you know, so just, well, what's the term in English? I don't know. Stop at the bay. We're literally like traveling around the world. That's what he said. I feel puke again. And he said, like, so it's basically a free vacation, and we get paid and everything. And I told him, like, you know me, right? Like, I'm flattered that you asked me, but I don't sing someone else's song, not because I can't, or because I have a big ego, or because he humiliated, or whatever the fuck. But it was the very first reason on why I started singing, because I couldn't sing anybody's song. I was in middle school, guys. I loved to sing, but back then I didn't realize about vocal range, so I thought I just had a bad voice because I could never reach the high notes. So I thought, like, I could never be a singer, you know. Like, I could never reach the high note. And I tried, and it sounds fucking horrible. I sound like a squirrel. But again, I ended up realizing how much I love to sing. So I started writing my own songs. So that was my initial motive on why I became the person that I am. Because I could not sing anybody else's song. So I gotta make my own with my own rules. I gotta make my own with my own voice range. I gotta make my own with my own tempo that I love, with my own groove that I love, with the way mix and mastered sit in my ears. I gotta do that all, and I did it. With pride, I say this. Yes, this is me saying it with ego. I acknowledge that. God damn. But this guy asked me to leave my life behind. And I have to explain myself, guys. I have to explain myself, like, hey, I really am flattered, you know, like, I really would love to, but you know my voice range, right? Like, I don't sing that song. And he replied, like, oh yeah, I know, I think it was stupid of me to ask you. But at the same time, he was like making me feel guilty for saying what I'm saying. Oh God, it's so complex. But long story short, what was I about to say? There's this big plot twist, guys. The thing is, he asked me to leave my life behind for 6 months. Oh, here's the big plot twist. He already know that I'm pursuing my degree, and I'm also doing my album, and that I'm also have this commission on November to Perth. And now that I already just got like an email from someone that I used to work with from the theater to go to Malaysia, also in November. And he told me that the ship is going to sail in August. And that was perfect for me to use as an excuse, because no matter how big my ego is, I don't have that big ego to be the bad person, to be the villain, to just say the blunt things. I gotta blurt everything out, make it pretty, package it, wrap a little ribbon, give it to him. So I said to him, like, well, you know, right, that I have that commission in November to Perth. I gotta make this instrument 20 minutes piece. And by the way, I just got this text like 6 hours ago from a friend in Malaysia that they want me to start like a songwriting class. So that's how I answered. I could have said it more bluntly, but I didn't. And that's my real hypocrisy. That's my real hypocrisy. Because you've been watching me, you know, yapping my anger out, right? I didn't say my anger out loud to the person who was supposed to know. All he knows that I rejected because I have some things going on already planned. But the truth is, I'm started wondering if any of it was real, you know. The hotel room, the eating together, you know, like we went to the restaurant and all. We spent all this time together. I started wondering if any of it was real, if he was really crying or if he was faking. I'm just currently overthinking it, but believe me, guys, I couldn't care less. It's just because it attacks my ego, and I want it to be wrong so bad. I want it to be proven wrong. I wanted to be proven wrong, that this person who I think is a con man is actually not a con man, and that I'm actually just wrong, and I'm actually just this terrible person who thinks the the worst out of people. I want to be wrong. I want to be that. I want to be the person who just think the worst out of people instead of being right. I don't want to be right. Because being right means that I'm gonna be alone. Because being right means that I was neglecting my own voice that is telling me through my guts. Because if I'm right, it means that I should pay more attention to my own guts. But I'm also afraid that I'm, gonna cave in so much that the only voice that I will be hearing in the future is my own voice. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to be that selfish. I want to be selfish. But in a way to protect myself, like now, this, and now, I couldn't be selfish. I couldn't be selfish. I want to be selfish, but I couldn't. I want to tell that guy to just fuck off, please leave me alone. But I want to be polite. I want to withdraw softly, if I could. Again, because I'm afraid that I might wake up tomorrow morning with more sober brain and forget any of this. Forget my own feelings. Forget what I'm actually truly feeling at the moment when I realized everything. Because again, it humiliates me that I trusted someone who was practically a stranger at first. I trust them that much only to find out that they're a con artist. This is a very long video, guys. I'm gonna go. Wait, actually, you know what? I'm gonna call him. All this text, like there's so many. Oh shit. There's so many texts. We'll see what's. Hey.
Hi.
Lagi di mana?